Good morning, beautiful people from all around the planet. Today we are going to be doing a reading of the Lori Noreen Vallow, also known as Lori Noreen Daybell, probable cause affidavit of Detective Ron Ball. And we're doing this because it will explain to you the reasons why Ron Ball and the other law enforcement officials decided to make an arrest warrant, and they got a search warrant for the Daybell property. I did hear that they took a half a dozen brown bags out of the property at the Daybell. They had a search warrant to look at their two outbuildings, surrounding the outbuildings, and inside the home itself. So, with that said, that probable cause affidavit of Detective Ron Ball is what got this all in motion. The two arrests of Chad and Lori Daybell, and the search of the properties or the property, the searches of the different areas in the property. So, with that said, I'm going to start with just explaining that an affidavit of probable cause is a sworn statement, typically by a police officer, and that it actually outlines the factual justification of why a judge should consent to an arrest or a search warrant. Now, in this case, it was both. The judge consented to an arrest of both Chad and Lori Daybell. They did charge them with two separate charges of concealment, and that was of the body of Tylee and JJ. That's why there's two separate charges each. And also, they charged them with being co-conspirators. Obviously, it takes more than one person to be a conspiracy. So they're thinking that at one point, I believe, if I read the affidavit correct from Chad Daybell's affidavit that I read yesterday, it indicates that the people of interest were all four, and those were Lori Daybell or Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, Alex Cox, and Melanie Boudreau, but now she is Melanie Pulowski. So those were people of interest at the time. And right now, because Alex is dead, of course, they didn't do an arrest warrant for Alex Cox, but they did do an arrest warrant for Chad and Lori. And with that said, I know that they always like to fry the big fish first, considering Lori and Chad are the ones that had custody of the children, and they were the ones that were deemed responsible for the children, that they are the two big fish to fry. But I assure you, in the future, we may be seeing signs of more fish, just not as big, maybe just not as practical in crafting when it comes to the cult world. I think Chad had his practice down. Lori had her cult practice down. And I believe that she had people like Alex and her niece, Melanie Pulowski, as followers. And now that Lori is in jail, there is a question mark if Melanie Pawlowski could be the new Lori Daybell, the ones calling the shots for this, let's call it a sub-cult, because we don't know how big the overall cult is. We have no idea. So anyways, the affidavit just gave the policeman the search warrant and the arrest warrants. And of course, they didn't have to go apprehend the two because they were already in jail. So it made life easy for the police for once in this case thus far. They could just go serve them the arrest warrants, and then they went before the judge. Lori went before the judge, I believe it was June 30th, and Chad went on July 1st before the judge, so that the judge could read them a reduced of the charges. Like, he read the charges, but he only read a reduced storyline of why they were being charged. This is going to be the heavy duty storyline. This is long, as it was yesterday for Chad's. I read Chad's affidavit, the probable cause affidavit for Chad that Detective Ron Ball had done, and today I'm reading Lori's. So with that said, here it is. It starts with, the title is, in the District Court of the 7th Judicial District of the state of Idaho is in and for the County of Fremont Magistrate Division. Now, I am just looking to see if you guys can see me. As usual, I always want to check that I am not just talking to myself. I'm looking for a live. Excuse me 1 minute. I'm looking to see if I'm on live. I am hoping I am on live. Let me try to take a peek and see if I can see that. Again, this is in the Idaho Fremont Magistrate Division of the courts. Yes, okay. It looks like I am online. I hope you can hear me well. So with that said, the plaintiff, of course, is the state of Idaho. They are against Lori Noreen Vallow, also known as Lori Noreen Daybell. Again, this is CR 2220838. That's the case number. And it's the probable cause affidavit of Detective Ron Ball. And of course, he gets sworn in that he's telling the truth. So here we go. Lieutenant Ron Ball of the Rexburg Police Department, being first duly sworn under oath, depose and state as follows. The information contained herein is true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. I am a detective with the Rexburg Police Department and have been employed in law enforcement for more than 27 years. I am currently the lieutenant over investigations for the Rexburg Police Department. I currently hold an advanced certificate and a management certificate from the Idaho Peace Officers Standards and Training Academy, and have over 2,500 hours of training. I have attended multiple trainings and classes throughout my career, including graduating from the FBI National Academy in 2015. So 2015. I have received multiple hours of specialized training In investigations, I have also conducted numerous investigations and interviews with suspects, victims, and witnesses involving narcotics, sex crimes, and fraud. I have also received numerous hours of training on traffic stops and the detection of criminal behavior. Number three is since November 26, 2019, the Rexburg Police Department has been involved in the search for J.J. Vallow. Date of birth, May 25th, 2012. Hereinafter referred to as JJ. And Tylee Ryan. Date of birth, September 24th, 2002. Hereinafter referred to as Tylee. The search for these children began when Kay Woodcock, JJ's grandmother, called Gilbert, Arizona police to report that she had not had any contact with JJ for several months. Gilbert police contacted the detective Ray Hermacia of the Rexburg Police Department. And due to the Rexburg Police Department helping the Gilbert police with an investigation in which JJ and Tully's mother, cousin, and uncle were persons of interest. JJ and Tully's mother, Vallow, hereinafter called Vallow, has been charged with 2 felony counts of desertion of a minor child, 1 misdemeanor count of resisting and obstructing, 1 misdemeanor count of solicitation to commit a crime, and 1 misdemeanor count of contempt. The contempt charge is for failing to comply with an order in a child protection action in Madison County, Idaho, to produce JJ and Tylee to the Rexburg Police or the Department of Health and Welfare. Vallow was required to produce the children by January 30th, 2020, and refused to do so. Tylee was 16 years old at the time she went missing, and JJ was 7 years old when he went missing. Until this time, law enforcement has stated that Tylee was 17 at the time she went missing. Because we were not aware she was missing until several months after her 17th birthday. However, we now have reason to believe she was killed before her 17th birthday. Chad Daybell, hereinafter called Daybell, was present in Kauai, Hawaii on February 20th, 2020, when Vallow was arrested on the felony desertion charges. I was present at that arrest. Daybell was also present at Vallow's March 6th initial appearance in Madison County, Idaho. As such, I know that Daybell was aware of the felony charges directly related to the location, health, and well-being of the minor children named above. Daybell and Vallow were married on November 5th, 2019. Daybell's first wife, Tamara, also known as Tammy Daybell, died the night of October 2019 in Fremont County, Idaho. Tammy's death is still under investigation. The last verifiable sighting of Tylee was on September 8th, 2019 in Yellowstone National Park. The last verifiable sighting of JJ was September 22, 2019, in his mother's apartment located at 565 Pioneer Road, number 175, Rexburg, Idaho, by Lori's friend Melanie Gibb, referred to as Gibb, and David Warwick, referred to as Warwick. While the Rexburg police and FBI have received many tips of alleged sightings since the beginning of the case, none of these tips have led to any verifiable or actionable information regarding the health, safety, or location of the minor children. Vallow moved to Rexburg on or about September 1st of 2019 with Tylee and JJ and her brother, Alex Cox, referred to as Cox. Vallow resided with her children at 565 Pioneer Road, unit number 175, Rexburg, Idaho. Cox resided in the same complex, initially living in the same unit as Vallow, and then moving into his own unit at 565 Pioneer Road, Unit 107, Rexburg, Idaho. On November 26, 2019, Detective Hermosilla and Detective Hope from the RPD went to Vallow's home, located at 565 Pioneer Road, number 175, Rexburg, Idaho, to conduct a welfare check. Detectives Hermosilla and Hope met with Cox and Daybell outside the residence. Daybell acted as if he didn't know Vallow very well and stated he didn't know her phone number. Cox told the detectives that JJ was with his grandma, Kay Woodcock, in Louisiana, which was not likely to be true due to the fact that Kay was the individual who first called in a missing child report to the Gilbert Police Department. Cox said Vallow may be in apartment number 107. Hermosilla and Hope went to apartment 107, but the apartment was completely empty and vacant. At this time, they called me and Detective David Stubbs and asked me to come to the premises to help search for JJ. Number 11. Shortly after calling me, Detective Hermosilla called me again and indicated that he saw Daybell driving a black Chevrolet Equinox away from the residence. Detective Hermosilla stopped Daybell and asked him again if he had JJ. Chad responded the last time he had seen JJ was in apartment 107 in October. He also admitted he knew Vallow's phone number and provided it to Detective Hermosilla. On the same day, myself and Detective Stubbs located and spoke with Vallow in her apartment number 175. We identified ourselves as Rexburg Police Department officers. Vallow told us that JJ was in Gilbert, Arizona, with a friend named Melanie Gibb. We obtained Gibb's phone number from Vallow. This encounter was recorded on body cam. We ended our contact with Vallow and immediately attempted to call Gibb. We were unable to contact or speak with her at the time. Vallow was also informed Rexburg Police Department that Tylee was attending BYU, Idaho, and living with Vallow. So that is, again, Vallow also informed the Rexburg Police Department that Tylee was attending BYU, Idaho, and living with Vallow. This is 13. Because Detective Stubbs and I were unable to contact Gibb, we immediately contacted Vallow again, and we requested that she call Gibb. At this time, Vallow told us that Gibb and JJ were at the movie Frozen 2. so it was unlikely Gibb would answer the phone. We instructed Vallow to call Gibb and have Gibb contact us so we could verify the location of JJ. By the evening of November 26, 2019, we had still not heard from Gibb. So Rexburg Police Department informed Detective Ryan Pillar of the Gilbert Police Department of the information we had received regarding the children being with Gibb. Detective Hermosia was informed later that evening around 9:30 p.m. that Gilbert police went to the home of Gibb. Gibb was not home, but Detective Pillar contacted her by phone, and she stated that JJ was not staying at her Arizona house and had not been there for several months. On December 6, 2019, Detective Hermosella was contacted by Gibb, and she informed us that both Daybell and Vallow called Gibb on November 26, 2019 at separate times. She was contacted first by Daybell, who told her that she would probably be contacted by the police in regards to JJ's location, and then asked her not to answer the call. Gibb informed Rexburg Police Department that she was confused by this request because she had been told by Vallow in late September or early October that JJ was living with Kay Woodcock, who is JJ's grandmother. Gibb asked Daybell if JJ was living with Kay, and he told her that JJ was not with Kay. 16. Gibb was soon thereafter contacted by Vallow on her phone. Vallow asked Gibb to tell the police she had JJ and asked Gibb to tell the police that she had taken JJ to the movie Frozen 2. Vallow further asked Gibb to take a picture of some children in a manner that would make it appear that Gibb had JJ with her and to send the picture to the police. Gibb informed Vallow that she would not lie to the police, and Gibb did not comply with Vallow's request. Gibb first met Vallow in the fall of 2018. Gibb introduced Vallow to Daybell in St. George, Utah at a Preparing a People conference. In early 2019, Gibb was present with Vallow during a telephone conversation between Vallow and Daybell. The conversation was in response to a vision of Vallow that her husband, Charles Vallow, and her son, JJ, were going to die in a car accident by January 1st or 2nd of 2019, which did not happen. During and after the conversation, Vallow told Gibb that Daybell had informed her that while Charles had not physically died in an accident, his spirit had left his body and he had been replaced by another spirit which was a dark spirit. The dark spirit was named Ned Schneider. 19. Gibb has informed law enforcement that the word zombie was introduced weeks after the initial conversation to describe an individual whose spirit has left their body and been replaced by another spirit. The new spirit inhabiting a person's or zombie's body was always a dark spirit. At some point after Gibb first learned this doctrine from Vallow and Daybell, she was informed by Vallow and Daybell that they believed it was their mission to rid the world of zombies. When Vallow initially spoke to Gibb about getting rid of zombies, she spoke about saying prayers to remove dark spirits from human bodies that they had inhabited. This information has been corroborated by electronic communications made by Vallow and Daybell. After the death of Daybell's wife on October 19th, 2019, Gibb was informed by Vallow that when a person became a zombie, their original spirit left their body and entered limbo and was trapped and cannot progress to paradise. Vallow then informed Gibb that for the person's original spirit to be freed from limbo, the person's physical body had to die. Despite the teaching that a physical body needed to die, Gibb reports she was never told by Vallow or Daybell that they were planning to carry out a physical killing themselves. At the time Gibb was told this information by Vallow, she was still under the belief that JJ was with the grandma, Kay Woodcock, and that Tylee was at BYU, Idaho. Melanie Gibb has further informed Rexburg Police Department that sometime in the spring of 2019, before the death of Charles Vallow, Lori Vallow called Tylee a zombie. Gibb was on the phone with Lori and heard Lori call Tylee a zombie, to which Tylee responded, "Not me, Mom." Upon the sealing of my probable cause affidavit in State versus Daybell, CR 22-2007-55, Gibb spoke with me and clarified that Lori herself told Gibb that Tylee responded to being called a zombie by saying, "Not me, Mom." Gibb did not hear Tylee say those words herself. This arose out of Lori requiring Tylee to babysit JJ, and Tylee did not want to. Lori Vallow also told Gibb that Tylee had turned into a zombie when she was 12 or 13, which was approximately the same time Tylee had become difficult to deal with. Gibb has further informed me, and I just lost the page, excuse me. I gotta go back to the page. Gibb has further informed me that she was told by Daybell and Vallow that they held the religious belief that they were part of the Church of the Firstborn, and their mission in the church was to lead the 144,000 mentioned in the book of Revelation 24. On January 26, 2020, a search warrant was served on Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow in Kauai, Hawaii, where they were living, and on their vehicle. The children were not found with Chad and Lori in Hawaii, and no evidence was found to suggest they were living with Chad or Lori. 25. Through this investigation, we have discovered that J.J. Vallow was registered at Kennedy Elementary School in Rexburg the first week of September of 2019. Kennedy School was informed that J.J. had an individual education plan, IEP, due to his autism. Kennedy Elementary was in the process of creating a new IEP for JJ. On September 23rd, 2019, JJ had an unexcused absence. It should be noted that originally in our investigation, we believed that JJ was in school on September 23rd. But upon review of his school records, we have found that he has not and had the unexcused absence. On September 24, 2020, Lori Vallow called Vicki Barton of the Madison School District and informed her that JJ was going to Louisiana with his grandparents and wouldn't be home until the end of October or maybe later. On October 29, Madison School District records indicate that JJ would be homeschooled. During searches of Vallow's apartment in Rexburg and subsequent searches of her apartment in Kauai, no homeschooling materials were ever found. As mentioned, the last verifiable sighting of Tylee was in Yellowstone National Park on September 8th of 2019. Photographs established she was there with her mother, Lori Vallow, her brother, JJ Vallow, and her uncle, Alex Cox. They drove there in Alex's silver Ford F-150. This trip was further established by tracking the GPS cell tower connections and Google account information on Alex Cox's phone. The 27. The cellular analysis survey. The cellular analysis survey team, hereinafter referred to as CAST, is an FBI unit that provides analysis of cell phone records and presents the information to law enforcement. CAST has analyzed Alex Cox's phone and provided the location information mentioned in paragraph 25. The CAST analysis provides the location of Cox's phone. Due to my training and experience and common knowledge, I'm aware that most individuals now keep their cell phones with them at all times. And the location of an individual's phone can be used to establish the location of the owner of the phone. CAS uses a cellular devices, GPS data points, cell tower connections, Wi-Fi connections, and Google tracking information to establish the location of a cell phone. The GPS data points used by CAST are considered to be highly accurate and can place the device within a 6-meter radius. CAST has further informed law enforcement that Cox's phone exited the west entrance of Yellowstone National Park at 1840. His phone appeared to be at the Buckaroo's Barbecue Grill in West Yellowstone, Montana, from 1845 to 1902. Cox then returned to Rexburg, Madison County, Idaho at approximately 2037. The phone was then at Lori's apartment, number 175, until 2135, at which time Cox appeared to go to the Maverick on Main Street in Rexburg at 2143 until 2153. Cox then went back to Lori's apartment from 2244 to 2315. At 2344, Cox's phone is located at his residence in apartment 107. On Monday, September 9th, from 12 a.m. until 12:44, Cox's phone was located at his apartment. However, at 2:42 a.m. to 3:37 a.m., Cox is located again at Vallow's apartment 175, where Vallow lived with Tylee and JJ. This is significant, not only because he is there in the middle of the night, but also because this is the only time in September he appears to go over to Vallow's apartment between midnight and 6 a.m. 30. At 4:37, Cox went back to his own apartment, Unit 107, until 8:59. At 9:21, he was located at the property with the address of 202 North 1900 East Rexburg, which is the residence of Daybell. It should be noted that while Chad Daybell's address is listed as Rexburg, it is actually located in Fremont County, Idaho. The 921 reading is a GPS data point and places him behind the home on Daybell's property east of the barn. Cox's phone was still at Daybell's residence at 10:39. At 10:47, his phone shows a hit at the city of St. Anthony. At this time, we are unable to tell if he was actually in the city limits of St. Anthony. St. Anthony is about a 5-minute drive from the Daybell residence, or if this was a cell tower ping on his phone while he was still at the Daybell residence. At 10:57 to 11:39, Cox is located at the Daybell property. At 11:52 to 12:02, he was at Del Taco in Rexburg. He appears to spend most of the rest of the day in his apartment. Through this investigation, the Rexburg Police Department and FBI have seized, searched, and analyzed multiple cellular devices pursuant to search warrants. On June 1st of 2020, I was informed by Special Agent Ricky Wright of the FBI that the FBI has been examining a phone believed to be owned by Tammy Daybell. The FBI found a text conversation between Tammy and Daybell on September 9th, 2019, which is the day after the last known sighting of Tylee in Yellowstone National Park. The text conversation reads as follows. Daybell to Tammy at 11:53 a.m. 1. Well, I've had an interesting morning. I felt I should burn all of the limb debris by the fire pit before it got too soaked by the coming storms. While I did so, I spotted a big raccoon along the fence. I hurried and got my gun, and he was still walking along. I got close enough that one shot did the trick. He is now in our pet cemetery. Fun times. Daybell to Tammy. Gonna shower now and then go right for a while at BYU. Love you. Tammy to Daybell at 2:47 p.m. Good for you. Daybell to Tammy at 2:48. I'm back home now. 34. I found the text suspicious because raccoons are normally nocturnal animals and are not found regularly out during the day. Matt and Regan Price, Daybell's neighbors, have informed law enforcement that Daybell's son, Garth, told them that Daybell had shot a raccoon sometime between July and August of 2019 during the day. Goff told Matt Price about the raccoon in response to a question from Matt about hearing a gunshot. The Prices informed me that the fire pit in the back of the Daybell property was hardly ever used until the last few months. Reagan informed me that there appeared to be frequent bonfires in the pit on the Daybell property over the last few months, and the first one she noticed was soon after Tammy's death on October 19th, 2019. 35. On June 2nd, 2020, Detective Bruce Mattingly of the Fremont County Sheriff's Office contacted Samantha William, who is the sister of Tammy Daybell. He asked her if she was aware of a pet cemetery on the Daybell's property in Idaho. She informed him that she was aware of the pet cemetery and stated that both she and Tammy were pet people and that they had both had pet cemeteries. When asked the location of the pet cemetery on the Daybell property, she stated that it was east of the Red Barn and near the fire pit. On June 4th, 2020, I spoke with Samantha and she informed me that she was aware of the location of the pet cemetery on the Daybell property because Tammy had shown it to her. Samantha was then shown an aerial photograph of the Daybell property, and she pointed to the same area near the fire pit where Alex Cox's phone pinged on September 9th, 2019. 36. The above facts established that Alex Cox appeared to be at the Daybell's property on September 9th, 2019 until at least 11:39. Chad sent the text to Tammy about burning debris and shooting and burying the raccoon in the pet cemetery only 14 minutes later at 11:53. The pet cemetery referenced by Chad Daybell is located at the same location as most of the pings on Alex Cox's phone on September 9, 2019. On June 3rd, 2020, I again interviewed Gibb and her boyfriend, David Warwick, in Pleasant Grove, Utah. We discussed in depth the weekend of September 22 and 23, 2019, due to the fact that both Gibb and Warwick stayed at Lori Vallow's residence in Rexburg that weekend. Gibb informed me, consistent with the information she had previously given to law enforcement, that she arrived in Rexburg on September 19, 2019. Soon after she arrived, Lori Vallow informed Gibb that JJ had become a zombie and pointed out behaviors such as sitting still and watching TV, claiming JJ said he loved Satan, and an increased vocabulary as evidence that JJ was now a zombie. Gibb observed JJ's behavior and felt it to be the same as she had always observed it. The last time Gibb and Warwick verifiably saw JJ was the night of September 22nd, 2019. Warwick informed us that it was late and that Gibb, Vallow, and Warwick were going to do a podcast. Warwick said that Vallow told him that JJ was acting up, and so Cox took JJ to his apartment in the complex. When Cox returned later that night, he was carrying JJ, who appeared to be asleep, with his head on Cox's shoulder. Warwick specifically remembered this because he saw it as a tender moment. Warwick further informed us that when he woke up the morning of September 23rd, 2019, he asked Vallow, "Where's JJ?" This was between 8 and 9 a.m. Vallow informed Warwick and Gibb that JJ had been acting like a zombie and had been crawling on the kitchen cabinetry and had gotten on top of the cabinetry in the space between the cabinetry and the ceiling. She informed Warwick and Gibb that when JJ had climbed upon the cabinetry, he had knocked a picture of Jesus off the refrigerator. Vallow then informed Warwick and Gibb that Cox had come and taken JJ. At no time during this interaction with Vallow did Gibb or Warwick believe that JJ was in danger. Vallow had not said anything about harming JJ or having Cox harm JJ. 40. Approximately 1 week after Gibb's September visit to Rexburg, Vallow informed Gibb that she had arranged for JJ to go live with his grandma, Kay Woodcock. Vallow further told Gibb that she had told Kay that she had cancer in order to convince Kay Woodcock to take JJ. Vallow further elaborated to Gibb that she had traveled with JJ and handed him off to Kay in an airport. The FBI CAS team has analyzed Alex Cox's movements the morning of September 23rd, 2019, by his cell phone GPS. At 9:55, Alex is again on Chad Daybell's property. He was there until 10:12. The pings on his phone locate Alex near the pond on Chad's property at the northern edge of his property. Chad Daybell's property is located in Salem, Idaho, in Fremont County. On June 3rd, 2020, I asked Special Agent Ricky Wright of the FBI to analyze the frequency of Alex Cox's visits to Chad Daybell's property during the month of September 2019. His response was, A, per your request, I checked the visits by Alex to Chad's house again. There were only 4 visits by Alex during the month of September. These were on September 6th, 12:41, 12:53, September 9th, September 23rd, and September 25th, 10:05 to 10:22. During the 2 visits on September 6th and September 25th, all the pings were in and around the house, and there were no pings anywhere in the backyard near the fire pit or pond. As you can see, these visits were also short, about 11 minutes and 7 minutes. Like the one on 9/23, it was 17 minutes. The visit on September 9th was the only long visit, approximately 2.5 hours. 43. On June 9th, 2020, a search warrant was executed at Daybell's residence and property with the assistance of local FBI ERT team, relocated at multiple sites of interest. These sites were identified and corresponded to the cellular data of Alex Cox's phone when he was on the property, mentioned in paragraphs 12 through 16. 44. Additionally, one of the possible sites correlated to a location on the property Chad had texted his wife about, mentioned in paragraphs 17 and 18. 45. The first site of interest was located on the north side of the pond, near the north edge of the property. This site corresponded with the two GPS pings from Alex Cox's phone on September 23rd, 2019. A patch of ground was located that appeared to be disturbed. The weed growth on the top of the disturbed ground was shorter than the surrounding weed growth. What appeared to be sod etching was also noticed. The disturbed area was approximately 4 feet by 2.5 feet. Members of the FBI ERT team removed the top layer of sod. Underneath the layer of sod were several large flat rocks. The rocks were removed and 2 pieces of flat paneling were found. The paneling was removed and investigators exposed a round object covered in plastic, black plastic. Similar paneling was found in a barn located on the property. 47. Upon exposing the round object covered in black plastic, a strong odor was noticed. A FBI ERT member used a small, sharp instrument and made a small incision in the plastic, and a layer of white plastic was observed. An incision was made into the white layer of plastic, exposing what appeared to be human remains. The crown of a head covered in light brown hair. 48. The remaining dirt around this object was methodically removed, exposing what appeared to be a body wrapped in black plastic. The plastic appeared to be tightly wrapped around the body and secured with gray duct tape. Cheryl Anderson, Associate Professor of Anthropology at Boise State University, was present on scene and advised the remains found near the pond appeared to be human. As noted above, the GPS on Alex Cox's phone pinged twice on September 23rd, 2019, near the first site where human remains were found. The GPS records indicate that Cox was at the location for a total of 17 minutes on September 23rd, 2019. Due to the depth and the width of the grave the body was located in, and the rocks and the paneling found in the grave, it would be impossible for one person to have dug that grave, placed a body in it, placed the rocks and the paneling in the grave, and covered it back up in 17 minutes. A second site of interest was located behind a red unattached outbuilding, located roughly in the center of the property near a fire pit. Next to the fire pit is an area used as a pet cemetery. This site correlated to several GPS pings of Alex Cox's phone on September 9th, 2019. 52. Ground in this area was probed with a steel pole, and several areas of disturbed ground were located. During a search of this ground, a buried cat and dog remains were found. No raccoon remains were located. A backhoe was used to dig further layers of dirt. While doing this, bricks were located approximately a foot below the ground. 53. Once the bricks were discovered, the soil was examined and what appeared to be two bones were located. Based on the condition of the first bones found, Cheryl Anderson was not able to determine whether the bones were human. Methodically in the dirt in this area was searched and several other items of interest were found, including other bones, charred tissue, and charred bones. Cheryl Anderson indicated these additional bones, both charred and uncharred, and tissue found were human remains. 55. Investigators provided photos of some of the partial remains that were found at the pet cemetery to Sarah Getz, PhD, a forensic anthropologist. Dr. Getz was able to identify those remains as being non-adult human remains. 56. Around the time the head mentioned in paragraphs 44 through 50 was discovered, Chad Daybell was observed leaving his daughter's residence in a gray SUV. I and other officers pursued him in police vehicles, conducting a traffic stop and detained him due to the fact that human remains were discovered on his property. 57. On June 11, 2020, I observed the autopsy of the body described in 44 through 50. The body had not yet removed from the plastic covering it was found in. As the body was uncovered and the face exposed, it was clear to me that it was the body of J.J. Vallow. The body was well preserved. While I had never met J. Vallow during his life, I was familiar with his face due to seeing many pictures and videos of him. I was further familiar with his haircut in the pictures. I had seen him in Yellowstone, which was shaved on the sides and back and longer on top. JJ was further identified by Brandon Boudreau, who was shown an autopsy photograph of the body and face and was able to verify the remains were JJ. On June 11, 2020, I had also observed the autopsy of the human remains described in paragraphs 51 through 55. It was not possible to identify those remains by simply looking at them, as they were too damaged by fire and dismemberment and no longer had any recognizable features. However, Dr. Glenn Smith, an orthodontist and deputy coroner in the Ada County Coroner's Office, was able to identify these remains as belonging to Tylee Ryan by matching an irregular jawline with an X-ray of Tylee when she was alive. Despite identifying Tylee, law enforcement was advised that it would still be wise to obtain a DNA verification. We were informed that sufficient soft tissue existed, which was not burnt, that we would be able to test the DNA. We are in the process of having said tests performed. 59. On January 16, 2020, a child protection action was filed by the state of Idaho in Madison County on behalf of JJ and Tylee. The case number CV 33200045. The court ordered Vallow to produce JJ and Tylee within 5 days of service of the order to the Rexburg Police Department or the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare in Rexburg. Vallow was served that order on Saturday, January 25th, 2020, by Detective Chad Cataluna of the Kauai Police Department. Vallow refused to produce the children and never complied with the order of the court. Alex Cox died on December 12, 2019, in Maricopa County, Arizona. His death has been ruled to have been caused by natural causes. 61. Due to the facts listed in this affidavit, probable cause exists that Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, and Alex Cox conspired to commit the crime of concealing and destroying, altering evidence they knew would be produced, used, or discovered as evidence in a trial, proceeding, inquiry, or investigation involving a felony. 62, excuse me. Chad Daybell performed at least the following overt acts in furtherance of the aforementioned conspiracy. A. Texted Tammy Daybell and told her about burning debris and burying a dead raccoon in the pet cemetery on September 9th, 2019. B. Deceptively acted as if he did not know Vallow very well and did not know Vallow's phone number when questioned by the Rexburg police on November 26, 2019, despite the fact they were married at the time. 63. Alex Cox performed at least the following overt acts in furtherance of the aforementioned conspiracy. A. Told Rexburg police on or about November 26, 2019, that JJ was with his grandma, Kay Woodcock, in Louisiana. B. Transported JJ Vallow from Madison County, Idaho, to Chad Daybell's property in Fremont County on September 23, 2019. 64. Lori Vallow performed at least the following overt acts in furtherance of the aforementioned conspiracy. A. Telephoned Melanie Gibb and asked her to lie to police about the location of JJ. B. Asked Gibb to create false evidence of JJ's existence and location. C. Falsely informed the Rexburg police that JJ was in Arizona with Melanie Gibb. D. Falsely informed the Rexburg Police Department that Tylee was attending BYU, Idaho, and living with Vallow. E. Refused to produce the children to the Rexburg Police or the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare as required by a court order. Further, and then it is signed and sworn in on the date of the 29th day of June of 2020 by Ron Ball, the detective in this case, put this affidavit together. Again, this is the affidavit that gave reason for the two to be arrested. Even though they had already been in jail. Even though they were already in jail, the two got arrested. So, also, this affidavit gave the probable cause to search the Daybell property again, which I had heard they had taken out around a half a dozen or so brown paper bags, and someone reported that they had seen metal in those or in one of the bags. So this is it. This was Lori's affidavit. Yesterday I read you Chad's affidavit by the arresting police officer, which was Detective Ron Ball. Drowsy doll, hello everybody. How you doing? Look at the haze on the canal, huh? Good morning, people. How you all doing? Go watch videos. I sent a link. Says D Love by 2. Only mods and owner can send links. I forgot, but it's documented. A lot of the creepy stuff that too sick to mention. Thank you, D. It's okay that you forgot. Not the worst thing in the world today, huh? We know where the real ugly is, don't we? Oh, isn't it, Drowsy Doll, with the 3 roses? Steamy, huh? Very steamy. Very, very steamy. I'm glad you guys get to see it. Could not be a detective or forensic person too devastating to ever unsee. Yeah, to see. Yeah, Cat Booch, I'm the same way. Like I already told you, the actual autopsies, like the real inner makings, I'll never be able to read. I mean, yeah, I just can't do it. And again, if you hadn't heard, I'm a wimp. I cannot see any gore. Like if someone's hurt, I can help fix them. That's no problem. I can see gore if a child or someone gets hurt and I need to patch them up. But if to watch a movie or a show or anything that's not real, but it's very gory, I cannot watch. Owen, have you heard about this document about K? I don't know what that means. What does that mean, the document about K? Maureen Walsh. I think she said, Amen. Have you heard about this document about K? C above D. Oh, so go up to D. Oh, D sent the videos. I get it. Okay. Okay, I get it. Stephen Sharon says, don't think Tylee witnessed shooting. What does that mean, Stephen? Do you think she was already dead? And I mean, I'm not sure if they have enough of her body left to even find if she was shot, unless a bullet is left in one of her bones that survived. Hi, human animal. Dee seems to think it matters that at one time it is documented Kay and Leary were unable. Oh, yes. I saw that interview. I'll clear that up. If it's the interview that I was thinking of, Larry's 73 if he hasn't turned 74. Kay's around 60. They thought when JJ was born, they had him the first few months. And because of his energy level, and more so because of their ages, and Charles and Lori were younger and in good physical shape and everything because of their ages, they decided to let them adopt them. Now, I might be talking about something else. Thank you, Dee. I love you all, guys. Cat Booch says, yes, Gran. My wife was a nurse but cannot feel well seeing blood. She was brilliant. Oh, that's nice. It means, yeah, you can't see gore. But if it's someone hurt, I could do anything. If it's someone hurt, I'm very reactive. Yes, good morning to you all, everybody, all across this planet. I just finished reading the affidavit of Ron Ball, the detective that did the probable cause affidavit for Lori. So I read that statement. I don't know how long it took, but the last one I read yesterday was Chad's probable cause affidavit by Ron Ball, and that took about 50 minutes. So, oh, you could hear oh yeah, I was almost crying. I had to really hold back during talking about yeah, let's skip over that. Yes. It's been floating around that Kay was asked to take JJ when? That's no, not when Charles got killed in thereafter. That's crazy. She wanted him. And Charles wanted her to have him because that's why Charles left the $1 million to her. To take care, to give her the resources to get the services she would have needed as an older person. Like I said, Janice Cox and Larry Woodcock are exactly the same age, 73 turning 74, if not. Come on, they're old. It's hard to take care of a young child. Oh, great. Dee was up. It's 4:30 in the Seattle. Munchausen on human animal says that is BS. Could not be a detective or a forensic person, too devastating to ever see. Like rumor is sex trafficking is why all phones in Munchausen by proxy. Yeah. Yeah, every day the view is different here. Let's see. Wonder if Carl knows it's all actual fault. Carl Danger is very interesting. Who is Carl Danger, guys? Is it someone in the chat? I'm looking back. Oh, I love that, Joji. She says, I think cancer may have been easier to cure than an evil heart and a life behind bars. You got it. Rachel G says, extremely sad and heartbreaking. Every time I hear this, Drowsy Doll had goosebumps, heart-wrenching. Oh, there must have been some. I'm going to have to, how do I get a moderator? I'm going to have to get a moderator for when I go on, but I go on so many weird, it depends on when I wake up and what my daily schedule is, and I don't have consistent times. Don't you think Lori's mom and sister are like Chris Watts' mother and yes, Cap. Yes, I believe they're just evil like them. They don't emote. There is no emotion. It is a court document, then I believe it. But if not, like I doubt very much Kay would have had JJ in a heartbeat. So there's a court document saying Kay didn't want JJ after Charles had died? They may not have been able to cope with a baby, and Lori was more lovely 6 years ago. Charles loved him. Jay and Larry wanted him. So Sorry, Graham, for reading a mod for me. No, for you? Human animal? I need a mod for you. Okay, I'll get one just for human animal. No one else. That's funny. You're all right. Gumshoe Graham needs a virtual hug. Hearing her read is so deep emotional. All my love. Thank you, Drowsy Dog. I just feel bad. I mean, if I was JJ's loving relative, I couldn't read those. Or Tylee's, of course. Good morning, beautiful people. Look at how beautiful that scene is. Huh? It looks better. It actually looks better in the video than it does. I mean, it looks beautiful, of course. And you guys can't see, like, it's out looking out into it's called like a lagoon. So it's the canal that attaches to the lagoon about 600 feet from here. I really not good in feet, but not too far. About 600 to 800 feet from here is a lagoon that opens up. So you guys, I don't think, can see that. I'm just trying to say something. No, it's hot, hot, hot. Human animal. It's hot. Oh, it feels like 85, maybe 90. And the humidity. Yeah, you can't figure these people out, D Love by two. You can't. Oh, hi, Jimmy Ballsy from Montana. Happy Friday to you, too. Wonder how Summer Shitlet and all those, you know what, are doing. The ones that can't even cry, they can't even come on the news now and see how horrible their sister and their daughter was, and her husband and their son and their brother. They can't they can't come on and reverse it. And if they do now, it's because they get the idea. They have to be educated on how to act. They can't act on their own. Hello, South Africa, Maji Maya. Welcome back. Venus Rising. Good morning, Graham. I know, huh? Yeah. I loved it when they mentioned that Melanie Pulowski, or Boudreaux at the time, was a person of interest with the Gilbert police in Arizona. Did you guys pick up on that? That in Gilbert, Arizona, she's a person of interest, and that has to be Brandon Boudreaux's attack when someone, which we think is Alex Cox, shot at him in his attempt to drive in his driveway. You say, hey, did you hear? Then all of a sudden people freak out like it wasn't discussed is a live chat. Melanie Boudreaux Pulowski, in what I just read, they said they referred to her as the cousin, that they had already had their eyes on Melanie Boudreaux at the time. She wasn't Pulowski. When Brandon Boudreaux, her soon-to-be ex, was shot at on October 2nd 2019. The Gilbert police had their eyes on her. And in this affidavit, it refers that she is a person of interest. They do not give what the reason is, but they did say Gilbert, and they did say that she was the cousin, was a person of interest. Maureen Walsh says Carl Danger and Annie Cummins, I know that's Tylee's auntie, have a Facebook group, True Crime Underground. He knows a lot about the Rexburg group that was following Chad's teachings, the cult, and also the ward he was in, and others. Wow. Annie Cushing. Oh, Cummings? Oh, yes, you're right. Thank you, Jimmy. It's Annie Cushing's, not Cummings, right? Thank you for picking up on that, Jimmy. At Stephen Sharon. Tammy was Chad's wife who died October 19, 2019, supposedly in her sleep, but they are investigating that as a suspicious death. At first, the coroner said that it was natural causes. They had a funeral within 3 days, buried her, but she got dug up on December 12th, 2019. They exhumed her body, and it is being tested as we speak. Yes, she had some type of pink foam coming out of her mouth, so they are suspicious because Joseph Lopez down in Arizona had Alex Cox, Lori's brother. Lori's brother, Alex Cox, is the so-called hitman for the cult or for Lori's family. And he was found with foam coming out of his mouth as well. I wish there was a place to read Facebook without joining. I hate Facebook. Yeah, I've never conversed on Facebook. The only thing, Venus Rising, I've done on Facebook is look up facts, but I have never been a participant in Facebook. So I'm like you. I guess I hate Facebook. I've never looked at it that way, but I must not like it. Thank you, girl, for understanding my concern, says D, loved by two. I want to know what the hell happened and why everyone failed these kids, period. From law enforcement to family, the schools, mummy's friends. You got it, D. We're right behind you. We're going to make a big poster board. Don't fail children. Don't get so preoccupied in your own garbage that you leave children behind. Just like the educational, no child left behind, that should be for emotional, physical well being as well. Yes, good for you, Maureen. I should try to do that group. I'm glad someone mentioned the Facebook group. Does Melanie and Ian still live in Rexburg? I would assume so, Stefan. I'm really not sure. See something, say something just hasn't sunk in. JJ doesn't like Facebook either. Neither do I, JJ. Zuckerberg, I can't stand either. No, they are living in the. Oh, you're right. That's right. Jimmy, I do remember they moved down to be close for her custody court cases. That is he quit his job, I believe. No, I'm not sure if he's working online from home, but yes, you're 100% right, Jimmy. Balsley. Balesley or Balsley? Yeah, I've never had Facebook other than to look up information. I've never had any discourse on Facebook. So it's a Friday. I forgot that it isn't that court date very soon. It was July 1st, and I heard it wasn't custody. I heard it was, someone wrote that it was July 1st case was something about the attorneys were trying to get Brandon Boudreaux into trouble for something, and I can't remember what it was. If someone on here knows, please chat it out so we know. It was something to do with getting Melanie Pulowski's attorneys, like defaming them or something. Who knows? It's all sidetracking. They keep getting sued by privacy violations, but when you're rich, you pay fines and wait for the next. Yeah, so they must be having a custody hearing pretty soon, I would expect. Someone posted on Facebook that my eldest son was deceased. No, drowsy doll. That's terrible. Yeah, human animal. That's right. It sounds like a Cox thing. What time is it there in Australia, human animal? Just out of curiosity. Custody court was yesterday and day before, but nothing is out yet. Will Lori be charged in Arizona too? I hope so, Stefan. Yes, for Charles. Oh, see, they got the two big kahunas of this subgroup, and I have to call them the subcult because we don't know, again, the tentacles out there involved in this cult that they're in with the same kinds of teachings, the same kind of doctrines. So we don't know how big it is, but this subcult will be adjudicated through the system for each one of those deaths. This is my opinion. Charles, of course, Tylee, of course, JJ, and hopefully Tammy. Oh, yeah. Now, I know that Bradford, New Hampshire, like the back of my hand. Oh my God, you don't know that area. It's out in no man's land. It is unbelievable. The township has, who knows how many people live in the township. And once you leave the township where Maxwell was hiding out in that $1 million in New Hampshire is like 20 million in LA. Yes. I mean, I might be off a little bit, but not much. Believe me, $1 million buys a phenomenal. And it said it had 126 acres attached, and she had a half a mile long drive going up the hill. Do you know what that costs just to plow it in the winter? And believe me, New Hampshire has winter all year round, in my opinion. I know, stupid, huh, human animal? She didn't leave the States. When is Melanie P. getting arrested? Soon, I hope. She's a liar, pants on fire. Yes. Pauline Hasselgrave. I think it's all very sad. Chad is where he belongs, in jail. I think he is a man that is a womanizer. I can only imagine what his wife Tammy went through. Oh, 100%. And you got to understand, he was right at that age that womanized, and the 40s for men, the early 50s for men, they go crazy, some of them. And they're trying to regain their youth. Well, he wasn't just regaining his youth; he was going to make his youth stay with him for until the world ends. His imagination went, way far. Good Venus rising. She's an evil being. I always think of it when you have grandchildren that are teenagers, like my grandchild, she's Tylee's age, and what can they be exposed to if you don't keep your eyes on them? Even when you do keep your eyes on the teens, you find out so many things that they go through. I'd rather know than not know. I'm not one of those person that wants to close my eyes and not go through the pain of knowing. I want to know. That baby Venus rising is in danger without any doubt. No doubt at all, that baby is in danger. And Brandon's kid, Kat. Yes, the courts didn't. It would be unbelievable if the courts ever gave Melanie any kind of custodial rights other than in industrialized supervised visits, meaning in a commercial supervised visit situation, never without being with an institution. Oh, I know Epsom, Drowsy Doll. Oh, I know, yes, I know Epsom. Very nice little township out of the capital. That's a perfect place to live and be a hop, skip, and a jump from Concord, the capital, so that you can have access to the state house. See, I always try to center myself around the state house because I always want to have access to the lawmakers. Yes, human animals. She would drive them off a cliff. Lori did tell a couple of people, and it would be Annie Cushing, the aunt, that she wanted to drive the kids off a cliff. She didn't want to wait for the world to end or whatever. This Lori's must have been a little shorter today. Maybe not. I'll have to see. It was long to read, but it seemed like it might have been a hair bit shorter. Or maybe it was because yesterday I had lawnmowers and two weed whackers to talk alongside of me. That's awful, Drowsy Doll. I can't believe someone posted that. Poor you, what you must have gone through with your eldest son's status at the time. I'm so glad it wasn't true after all. Yeah. Yeah, they get the big kahunas, Lori and Chad. That's a good name for them considering they love Hawaii so much, right? They got them. Now they'll be focused on them, but they'll have people watching the Melanie Pulowskis, the Ians, the Summer Shitlets, the Janice Cox, and whoever else we don't know. Who of Chad's group that we don't know? You know that Chad wasn't the only one with these doctrines and teachings. So, how many do you think are just in the Rexburg area? Guys, how many do you think that are in the Rexburg area of people who are under Chad's spell? I know. Yeah, holding hands, giving dirty looks. Lori was taking pictures of the news reporters in Kauai when they were chasing her around. She was taking out her iPhone and videotaping or taking pictures. Like, she was like, you do it to me, I'm going to do it to you. She was so cocky. And just like Summer Shitlet and Janice, they're so cocky. You guys have to come up with a term for me, because I have never seen such cocky people prance around who have done such heinous things. Yes, who is above Chad and his cult? And yes, the epitome of evil. Yeah, hundreds, says Human Animal. And it's multi-state. Yes, I believe you. Crazies. Preparing a nutcase. That's what we're changing that to. I know, just like all churches aren't bad, just like all religions aren't bad, people in preparing a people are not all bad. It only takes some to be evil. But we call it now preparing a nutcase. That's the new name. PAN. Chad the zombie. Yes, he's zombied. Someone's got to kill him so that his poor soul can leave him, his spirit can go. No, keep his spirit in the zombie. Geraldine Carabala says Fulton loves Melanie. What does that mean? Fulton loves Melanie. Who knows what that means from Carabala? I don't know what that means. Fulton loves, is that the Melanies? Must mean something like, yes, you're right. Forget the baloney. All of it takes evil to win is for good people to do nothing. Thank you, Human Animal. Yes, Venus Rising. Does someone know? Geraldine, can you tell me what Fulton means? Yes, they attract the lost. Yes. We've talked about that, JJ, that they attract people without constitutions. When you don't have a strong constitution and you will waver any which way, you'll wax and wane, then you're in trouble. Yes, Georgie, I know that. Please watch out. Weirdos can be in. Yes, sir. Don't close your eyes, guys. We talk about that all the time. Do not close your eyes. And do not ignore your instincts. Don't say, oh, that's just him, or that's just her. When you get a bad vibe from someone, pay attention to it. Melanie is missing. Yeah, in her head. That's right. Yeah, she's missing in her head. Stand for something, you'll fall for any. Yes. Oh, I like that, JJ. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I know, huh, Rachel D? He'll tell them, Rachel says it's scary thought that Chad may continue this cult with his new jailmates. Can you imagine? He'll say, I'll get you out of jail. I'll build you a portal. He'll take money from all these jailmates. So don't, if you got anyone in jail, don't send any jail money to him because Chad will be robbing them of their money. Georgie says, my own father, and I didn't find out until I was 50. Sad. We all have them in our families. Sometimes we got to say goodbye to our families. Sad but true. Yes, Drowsy Doll. I never saw that movie. I'm not a science fiction person. I'm kind of like a documentary type, but yes, I can see the parallels just from the little commercials and the little parts that I have seen. She says, Nightmare of the Living Dead. Sacrificing lives is number one. Sign that is a godless cult. 100%. Yes, Aaron and Lexi, I was thinking the same. Aaron says they need to dig up Chad's whole backyard. A beautiful little girl called Kipling Davies went missing, and there's a guy in jail who didn't do anything. Chad has something to do with this girl. Yes, I've read about that. That, it's come to that case has come to the forefront. It's a cold case that's come to the forefront of investigators. Yes, there's a lot of them. The covert Venus rising, the covert narcissist equals the malignant narcissist, in my opinion. Because if you can't see that they're narcissists because they hide all their bad behavior, they're as bad as the malignant that you can see, if not worse. Me too, Susan Berg. I'm looking forward to seeing Lori and Chad in court after we're going to have, did you hear yesterday? We're going to have a party on the 23rd. We're going to have a celebration. And, Lori and Chad can celebrate by building portals in their respective cells. See if they can get out. Yeah, Rachel G. Their portals malfunction. Nice, Astrid. He says, I'm speaking to my overlord, Zethan Master, now to ask the locations of other bodies. Sometimes you have to make boundaries that even family sometimes have to cut off, especially the users that never give anything back. Yeah, it's a hard one. If you learn to be a giver, it is hard not to give. But it sets you up for a lot of pain because those users that JJ's talking about love you. And they love to whack you hard when you put a boundary up. I know, Stephan, I saw that. No prison attire for either one of them. Oh, the 5 kids, Lori and Chad's remaining 5 kids, must have brought them over clothes. And they give them to the attorney, and the attorney brings them in. That's how I knew it to be. That the attorney can bring in gear for their friggin' maniacs. Kat says, hi, Georgie. It's nice that I can read such a long document and then just have this like relaxed chat after it. And that way, people that don't want to listen to the chat can at least hear the document if that's all they want to hear, and then shut the device off. And because that document has some telltale signs. One is the one I just told you. If you guys heard it, that they had Melanie Pawlowski when she was Melanie Boudreau, however you say that name, when they had her as a suspect, as a person of interest, I should say, for the Brandon Boudreau attack. And we all know it was Alex, and we all know he's a bad shot from afar. We know it wasn't a woman. Do you understand that the Army, this is what I've been told, I got Army brothers, the U.S. Army prefer women to be shooters. They say we're a much better shot than men. We're much more exacting. So we know it wasn't probably Lori or Melanie. Why only Kobe and wife? Yes. Oh, they said that Kay and Larry were there too, but they just didn't have enough room to put their faces on that square, in that 4-quadrant thing that they made. Yes, they said Lori and Kay were there too. It was all by Zoom. So they were all in their respective offices or respective homes in the Zoom chat. So they chose Colby and his wife. I don't know why, but Kevin Whelan says Chad's house should be torn down. Yes, Kevin. And the memorial park should be put in for the kids on Chad and Lori's dime. Well, you know what, Kevin? Do you even think it's Chad and Lori's dime? Isn't it Tammy's life? And did you see that beautiful bird? I don't know if you saw it. A beautiful bird. Sometimes I get a crane standing right here. A tall crane. Yes, I think it's Tammy's life insurance monies. It's not Chad and Lori's dime. They're using Tammy's life insurance money to get themselves out of jail, which I think is horrendously egregious. Lori kept talking about protecting the children. The only ones the children should have been protected from are Lori, Chad, and Alex. They are pure evil, all of them. Yes, and Melanie Pawlowski. I'm going to add that, Susan Berg. I'm also going to add Summer Shitlet and Janice Cox and her husband, Barry Cox, and anyone else attached to Lori and Chad's little sub-cult group. Yes, no one, they're the only ones. It was all reverse psychology. It's all what bad people do. All bad people will reverse what they've done wrong on you. Mary Kennelly, that's correct. It just makes you so mistrustful of strangers when your own is so strange. Yeah, I've actually trusted some strangers much more than I could some family members. Some family members can be terrible. Especially, I see it the ones that are all, and tell me if I'm wrong. If you're into an image, if you're into the nicest car, the nicest home, the nicest clothes, the nicest jewelry, all that stuff, the image stuff, that you can't be in just you can't look like a ragamuffin. Like that wouldn't be part of who you are. Then I worry. On how come you're trying to impress the world? Because you only have to impress yourself. Yes, Jennifer, I do too. I agree that the house should be pulled down. Actually, it should be burnt. Yes. Oh, it sounds, I don't know about burning. Maybe dismantled. I don't know about the burning. Also, a lovely memorial to J.J. and Charlie, but not paid for by Chad and Lori's ill-gotten money. Yes, Venus rising. Shanann's house too, with a park for children. Yes, Drowsy Doll. Love is the greatest gift. I told you on my Band-Aid. It's so funny. I have this little Band-Aid tab, and it says, "Thank you for caring for those you love." I know it's so funny that it's on the Band-Aid container. It's a tab on the container. Thank you for caring for those you love. In other words, do your part to foster whole people. Yes, thank you, Maureen. Bulldoze and flatten, leaving no trace. And build trees, plant trees and shrub, all that land had nothing of. There was no life on that land. You could tell there was no vegetation to speak of. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right, Georgie. They already have a cemetery. I like that cat. He says, evil does not come with horns, so we wish we could see evil. Some of us can. Some of us can, and some of us see it a little too late, and some of us don't see it at all, ever. Evil could be sitting right next to you, so it's our duty to help the people that can't see it. Oh, I like that, Jimmy. Yeah, it's a bunch of crap, but I got to go to work. Lots of love to you, Graham. Thank you. You got to make the dollars. Yes, you do. And you got to have fun at doing it. So have a great day. The evil oozes out of them. I could barely look at Janice. I know. In summer, how frozen her face is. Frozen. How many acres are there, human animal? You said pull down the house, rebuild it, and leave the 3 acres to grow natural for wildlife with the dam, trees, and grasses. Yes, it would be nice. It would be nice to know what type of flowers Tylee liked and JJ liked, and plant some of their flowers and make like a walk-through garden so that you could, like a garden to walk through to show the beauty of them too. Oh, what an idea. How do you do that, Kevin Whelan? How do you start a you just go to GoFund for a park? Well, first we have to get the land, right? We got to get the land. The kids are living in that rat hole right now. He had 4 acres in total. Poor Tammy, she bled her hands so he could go at BYU and ogle the little girls there and kiss and hug Lori there. Yeah, that's nice, Maureen. If Fremont County starts a funding source to, yes, they need to do something. And we also, Maureen, we also need to do this. And I've said this. No, this is the first day of my second month. I've been online with this case for 1 month yesterday. And I've gained 1,400 plus subscribers. So first of all, thank you very much. Graham could raise more using her voice. Oh my God. What are you talking about, Kevin? Needs to be zoned for it. That's why they can't have a park at the Watts homeowner be at. Yeah, you're right, Venus Rising. Yes, what was I saying? I forgot it now. We need to fund you, Graham. No, Kat, we're never going to do that. I've already told you guys. There's no funding me. Any funding that comes from YouTube, that will come in the future from ads that show up on my videos, that is going to go through all the people that help me put, like, I don't know how to do a lot of the, like, making a thumbnail and making pictures and all. So it's going to be dribbles of money, but I'm never going to take any money. Nope. I'm not one of those creators that are going to go around trying to steal from other creators so that they can get more money. I watched that for a couple of years now. Hi, Hurricane Holly. Good morning. Oh, great. Thank you so much. I got done, Hurricane Holly. I got done reading the Affidavit of Probable Cause. The Ron Ball, the detective sworn statement. He was the one that outlined the factual justifications of why a judge should sign the arrest warrant and the search warrant. So I'm all done reading that. So if you want to go back at another time, you can hear the probable cause information of why they got the search warrant and the arrest warrants for the co-conspirators charges and the concealment of evidence charges. So I think each one of them might have gotten 4 charges. If I read this right, there was 2 charges for each body for conspiring. And then there's 2 charges for each body for concealing the evidence. So there's 4 charges on each. Now that's how I take it. I could be wrong. Yes, hit the like button. That's a good one, Kat. Have to say that's a beautiful idea to change all that sadness around there into something beautiful. Yes, Marge, if we could. Now, I'm thinking, because I'm a big George Harrison fan. I love George Harrison. For all you people out there in London or England or in that area, and just love. And I remember him as the Beatles separated in the late 60s. He started to get into gardening. And that's what they call their yards out there, which is, we don't call them. We call them a yard. They call them a garden. And that's a good word to use because they do make them beautiful. So I would like it to be a garden, a walkthrough of Tylee's favorite flowers. Maybe we don't know her favorite flowers, but it could be her favorite colors. The plants, the flowers that have her favorite colors. JJ's favorite colors or plants or flowers. Something like that. Oh, yes, human animal. I agree. Chad probably has grabbed and groped many, no doubt. Yeah, Hurricane Holly. What if people had missed if they had heard the or read the affidavit themselves? There's a part in the affidavit that they explain that Melanie Boudreau was already known to the Gilbert police because she was a person of interest. They do not explain that it was because of the Brandon Boudreaux attack when someone shot at him. They don't go into detail why she was a person of interest. But for Gilbert, Arizona, that is where Brandon got attacked. So I'm assuming that she was a person of interest. So that was nice to see it in writing. And of course, there's a million other things in it that makes you curious that they don't say out fully. I know, Rachel D., I don't know how Chad's kids could live there with everything that has happened, including their own mother. I know. It's like they turn their back on their mother. Oh, that's nice, Hurricane Holly. It would be great to have a place that accommodates children on the autism spectrum at the house site. Oh, that would be really great. I'd like to see, because kids like it, like a rope course, some type of a small rope course, or whatever they call it when they walk across, something that kids love like that. Did you hear about the letter Julie Rowe put out last night? What an attention seeker, complaining that no media are showing her interviews apart from the odd few mini clips. What a tosser. Purple and blues, Marilyn says. Blue and purple flowers, Rachel D. says. Yeah, I like the idea because all kids love like activity. So just walking through and seeing flowers might be too old lady-ish for them. Maybe having, like I said, like a small rope course or one of those things that they walk on the line in harnesses. Something that keeps them in nature and gives them the balance and the thrill. White flowers opposite. Ooh, I love that. Yes, that is brilliant, Rachel D. Kat says white flowers opposite of dark. And it would be amazing, Drowsy Doll. It would be amazing to have something beautiful, something serene, something not touched by evil that we know has happened to those kids. Yeah, zip lines. You got it, Drowsy Doll. Zip lines. That's what they call hydrangeas. Are beautiful. Yes, I love hydrangeas. Hurricane says, my son is autistic and we are always looking for new places to have fun or take a break. Yes, and hopefully have it so that it's subsidized to a point where it's not like if you have the zip line or something, you're going to have to pay people to be there to run the zip line. Another thing I thought just now is a cool thing that Maine does. Maine has these pieces of land because they get snow, just like Idaho. They put like a ski, what is it called? Not the ski lift, but the tow bar. They put tow bars on the ground and they pull kids around. So they're on flat ground, but very slowly they have the gears, these large gears that pull the children. And sometimes they use like outside burners to energize the gears somehow to make it electrical. Lee Pepper says nobody cares about Julie. She is insane and a fake, saying the kids were okay. No one is going to forget that. No, you're right. That's nice, Kat. Our autistic son loves plants and flowers from a very young kitty. Yes, Maureen says Julie Rowe is being ignored and hates it. Purple, blue, and white hydrangeas to signify Tylee. JJ and note for angels. Yeah. Yeah, she was another brain, but there's got to be millions more. And that his friend that did that interview said that Chad attracted these middle-aged women. You know, there is a property in the city where I live in the UK that was been developed to help children with disabilities. It is amazing and is wheelchair friendly. Nice. In Florida, everything's wheelchair friendly. We're flat down here. Our homes are usually one story and they're accessible typically. You know, there's not, the roads are flat. Everything in Florida, that's why it's filled with us old people, because you can get around real easy. Obstacle course in flying fox. What's flying fox, human animal? Maureen Walsh says Julie Rowe is a charlatan for sure. We do know that. Yeah, where'd she get that idea, Susan Berg, that the children were okay? Like, what was she? Had the portals to the children, or what? I don't get it. Yes, tubes for snow rides. Yes, Kat. That's what I was thinking, because of course that's a 4-season area. Yes, tubes. You can pull them on tubes. They do that at the ski slopes when the snow isn't that good for skiing. They'll put tubes. Yeah, in her dreams of Tammy dying. Yes, Venus Rising, and telling stories that Chad was saying that Tammy was dying. Like, why would you? It's so hideous. So disgusting. JJ, if there was any justice, the portal would open up and take them all back to their home. Hell. You got it. Guys are funny. So we got yesterday we did ideas on a Charles Vallow Day for the people that weren't here yesterday. At the end of the reading of the affidavit of Ron Ball for Chad Daybell yesterday, we talked about having a minute of silence for Charles on July 11th. We talked about it would be a celebration of Charles Vallow's life, sharing poems, talking about and writing about that he was a stand-up guy. And Jessica mentioned maybe we could get a hold of a family member or family members and have them join in and talking about how great a father he was, and just talking about how great of a person he was, and how we all have come to love Charles. So yes, that's what we talked about yesterday. And today we're talking about making Chad the evil monster's property, Chad and Laurie's property, where they might have killed the children, where they might have buried the children, to reverse their psychology again and make it a beautiful place for the children. And people can think of Tylee and JJ, you know, they can know that Tylee and JJ and Charles will never be forgotten. Oh, nice. You taught at the deaf and blind. I wish I had been closer to a deaf school, because I could have had some good help there. I had a cousin, I think he was a distant cousin, that was completely deaf, and he went to a deaf school, but it wasn't known that I was partially deaf. Charles tried so hard to get the witch help. I know. You know what's sad? Someone said it yesterday. They said that he still loved her. He just wanted the help for Laurie. He still loved her. He was that pure in his heart for her that he only wanted her to get help. He took everything that she was doing as evil, as wrong, but he didn't let go of love for her. And of course, he loved the children. What do you mean? Yes, I did. Amen. Maureen says, my brother passed away age 15. He was a mute autistic, but highly intelligent. I also have a nephew who is a mute autistic boy, now age 18 and loving life. I know a lot about autism. I don't know if the people, when I was in high school, I volunteered at a state hospital for the mentally ill. And in those days, they put the deaf people in mental institutions. So I would go over to the high school, and I went over to the state hospital, and I drove when I was a teenager. And I would take out this man. He was probably around 50, and I would take him mountain hiking. And he loved it. In those days, you could, is beautiful. Arwen in this chat. If so, tab and fresca for you, unlimited LOL. Oh, nice. Yeah, so I used to take the man out. He was completely deaf, and he did not know how to write. And by the time that me and him parted, I ended up spending a couple of years going to him periodically and taking him out with my dog, and we'd mountain hike in the area, just light hikes, nothing. There were mountains, but I didn't take him like on heavy mountain hikes that a teenager could do. But when I left him, I still have it today. He wrote his name. He had never written before in his life. And he wrote James Gibson, That was his name. James Gibson gave love. It was the best written little scrap of paper that I ever had. Yes, he looks like Charles. It's called Karma. Oh, yes, the prosecutor. I didn't even know what you were talking about, JJ, but I figured it out. I thought that I was all confused when I saw him. I just retired after 7 years special ed autism spectrum teacher, 26 years family and consumer sciences. Special ed kids are the best. Yes, Bella, they're the best to work with. I agree with you. Thank you, Kat. No, but can you imagine getting that note from him? He's dead because he was 50 then, and that was many decades ago. But he was from Vermont, and he wrote, James Gibson gave love. In, very juvenile handwriting, but it was so great. And I still have it. It's just on a scrap of state hospital paper, just a scrap of paper. Yeah. It seemed to me that the whole community was brainwashed by Lori Alex. Yes, including the police. So you're talking about the greater Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona area, the Gilbert area, right, Lee Pepper? Because I don't think that Lori and Alex had their tentacles in the Rexburg area like Chad did. Karma, all right. Wonderful, Graham. I just retired. Okay, I read that. Jogger, all manners of communication, hence why Makaten is so important through sense and signs by using body touching. Nice. Thank you, everybody. I thank you so much. You're writing such nice comments. Well, how's my? It's not as misty now, huh? Jennifer says, I like the way the prosecutor tilted his head and the expression on his face when Lori's lawyer said no to the judge after being asked if he represented others in the case. Right, meaning Chad. Yeah, they were ready for that. And I could tell, Jenny, that the judge socked it to him. When he asked the attorney, Mark Means, that question, if he had been a representative for any other of the co-conspirators, he really sucked that question. It was not done lightly. Totally agree, Bella. I did work experience in high school here in Dublin, and my first job was with special needs children. It was very emotional because some of the children were left there. Oh, thank you, Drowsy Doll. My students used to love the trampoline, especially the blind and deaf one. The blind people love, I can see that. They have no fear and giggled in happiness. You know what my granddaughter wants me to buy her for this little part of the canal? She wants a water trampoline. I have told her whole life that I won't buy her a trampoline because she could fall and get hurt. Now she says, well, if I fall, I won't get hurt. So if anyone knows of a good water trampoline, let me know. That's funny. My bladder. Mine is too. Human Animal writes, my bladder is terrified of trampolines. Chad's attorney looks like Eric Swalwell. I don't know who that is, Stefan. Newbie Ruby the cutie. Yes, she has a pretty good argument. Well, guys, are you getting tired yet? I've been sitting here. Yesterday it was so tiring for me to read. It was because it was midday when I read the Chad Daybell Affidavit of Probable Cause written by Ron Ball. But today I didn't get as tired. But you know what I did as a trick for anyone that does talking? I put a little bowl of honey, like 2 tablespoons of honey next to me. So when I started to feel my throat getting seriously dry, I would just take a little, swab of the honey. Yes, Jenny. Yes. I just wouldn't get my grandkids one. I just wouldn't. But now there's water, then I can. As long, obviously, and that's the thing. I said, well, what if there's snakes and alligators? Because, again, we're in a lagoon. Lagoons do not naturally have alligators or crocodiles because I'm not south enough to have a crocodile. The crocodiles are more towards the Everglades in Florida. But we do have alligators. I see them all the time, especially when I'm driving. I see them in little tiny runoffs and stuff. But yes, there's not pythons, but people have seen water moccasins nesting actually right by my house. Fosse needs honey. Yeah. Oh, because of how dry his throat is. Yeah, and he's so old, I mean, he's a little bit older than me. So, yeah, as you get older, your voice can't take it. I couldn't yell anymore. This was an amazing discussion. Every single one of you, thank you so much, Georgie says. I have to go. Thank you, Graham. You are far the kindest and most out. Thank you, Georgie. You have a great day. And I'm going to be closing myself. Guys, I'm going to be closing, but as I always say, you know the spiel. The spiel is watch out for the danger that's out in this world. Don't forget there's danger. Don't forget that even though I'm sitting here and beautiful, and even though people can look beautiful, look at Lori. At one time, she looked beautiful, but that doesn't mean a thing. It doesn't mean a thing. So, guys, with that said, I'm going to be closing. I thank you. And if you share this, like it, or subscribe, or all those chores that we creators give you, please do. And tell people if you share it that if they just listen to the first part is the affidavit reading. And then, of course, the second part is the chat. But the affidavit reading isn't as long as the chat. So you guys be beautiful and have a beautiful day and watch out for the ugly. Really watch out for the ugly. God bless you all.
tale. All in all, it's just another lie beyond the veil. We don't need no cult religion. We don't need Chad's control. No talk.